Heads, we're explaining the term hurry up and wait. Tails, we're explaining the term mandatory fun. Let's make it happen. All right, we got heads today, which means we're going to explain the term hurry up and wait. This is an important context, again, especially as a spouse, to understand that, like, your spouse who's in the service, they're gonna probably be so frustrated a lot of the times with how early they have to show up places, and it's just going to be ingrained into their being. And I just kind of want to provide like a little bit of perspective of how all this goes and how it trickles down, because it's so funny and ridiculous. And by funny, I don't really mean funny, like kind of like haha sad, not haha funny type funny. But let's say there's a morning muster. This term muster means everyone needs to get together and be physically present in the same location. And let's say, again, me, when I was leaving the service, I was an 03. I was a department head. And so I had a department of, like, again, there were 3 divisions in my department. So there were kind of like 3 individual units and entities that were a part of it. Let's say I talked to my division leaders, so again, like some more junior officers, and usually like a chief, again, an E7 in the Navy, someone, again, a senior enlisted person who's in charge of that individual unit or division. And I said, hey, we gotta meet up at 8 a.m. Like, we gotta get together at 8 a.m. for this thing, because, you know, the commanding officer, like the actual, like, senior person was like, hey, we're gonna have an 8:15 all hands call. This term all hands meaning everybody, and like the captain, the commanding officer, wants to speak to everybody. A lot of times, if I said, hey, let's be here at 8, each division would say, oh, hey, let's be here at 7:45, so that way, just in case something happens or we need to find someone, we have 15 minutes of buffer time before, like, our boss needs us to be there. And then, of course, guess what happens? When that division says we need to be there at 7:45, each individual LPO, or like smaller subsection, because even within the division, there may be groups of like 6 or 7 people who are, you know, even more responsible for a more specific group of people as the ladder, the organizational structure continues to go down. And so what started as we need to be there at 8 a.m. turned into 7:45 a.m. And now kind of the next layer saying, well, let's be there at 7:30, so just in case anything needs to get fixed, we can be ready for the 7:45 muster. And before you know it, your spouse is showing up at 7:30 or 7:20 to be there early for that. They're showing up at 7:20 and just sitting there until 8 a.m. Right? And the ridiculousness of it all. But that's kind of the reality. That's kind of the reality. And so a lot of times they'll be stressed in the morning. They'll be rushing. They'll be running. They'll hurry up to get there. And then they got to wait. Hope that explains it. See you tomorrow.